I'd like to welcome you to the O'Sullivan Art Gallery. And to start off today, I'd like to ask you, how did you learn about the New Mexico Santos tradition?
Well, Santos have always been a part of my family since I was growing and up, and I pretty much grew up in the San Luis Valley of Colorado. A strong faith and Catholic upbringing. Basically, almost going to church three days a week. We used to go to this little church. It's called Our Lady of Victory. It was down in Denver, located down on 13th Street. And that was my first exposure of the real Spanish colonial art, being that they did the Altarscreens just like they do southern New Mexico. But the art just came later. I was self-taught on this art form. I used to make figurines for people they wanted, just to see if I could draw them to what they look like. But as far as that, no training at all. My first exposure was in San Luis, growing up in Cathedral Church. My mom grew up to go, she went to in Las Masitas, Colorado. My father, he was an art collector, and he collected a lot of art, and basically he drew me to the arts again. He gave me an art book during Christmas. Later on, he died in '91, and he left a lot of stuff, so we had to figure out what to do with it. And so, having some oils in hand and basically brushes, I just dabbled in them. And my husband says, "Well, why don't you make a Santo?" He basically had a few when he was growing up, so I went off what he had and the books that my father-in-law had. He was a great collector. He was a history teacher, so we inherited a lot of books. So the art was, and the books were just right there in front of me. So I started from there.
What inspires you in creating your retablos?
Just people acknowledging that I could do the work that I could do. It just continued off on that. It just people telling me, that's really good. You should keep going. And I was a full-time worker at the time. I worked 10 hours a day, and that fifth day, I just basically just dabbled in the paints, and it was trial and error. I didn't know the correct techniques of the Santos, but later on that just came, just reading. Actually, Father Thomas Steele was a big influence. It was one of his books my father-in-law had, and I went by the books and what he had. He had said in the book, so still struggle with the gesso. So my husband, being a carpenter, we dabbled in drywall mud. It's the same kind of recipe, but it's a little different. And we just put that on boards and let it dry, and I used acrylics back then. But back in, I just have to say that Allie Jeffers in Colorado Springs, she's the curator. She worked at the stores, actually, at the Taylor Museum. She encouraged me to take a class from Charlie back in '94, Charlie Creo. So that was, that's when it just took off. After the 2-hour class, I just went home and changed everything up. Started making gesso, and that was a lot harder than I thought, but the techniques of doing that correctly is, whatever, it has to do with the temperature, the outside or the temperature inside. It was really hard for me to start doing that correctly. There was cracks and stuff, but I actually liked the cracks, and I didn't say very many because they all sold. I just started selling back in '94 after I juried at Spanish Market in Santa Fe. They have a big Spanish colonial society, art society there that I'm still a part of after 27 years. I continue to do basically the same traditions from the 1800s. And that's how I got started.
Have you passed this tradition down to anyone in your family?
My daughter, Roxanne, she started along with me when she was 14. She sat next to me every time she came home from school and just wanted to see what I was up to, what I was doing. And I explained the way they did it out of the books. And I told her, after a whole year of talking to her about it, she finally picked up a brush and did her first one. It was pretty darn good. We sewed that first year in '95 at Spanish Market in Santa Fe. And it just stuck with her. And I have a website that people go off of with the other videos that I have done. And they just call me to ask if they're doing it right or what materials that they should be using.
And do you enjoy being able to do that with your daughter and your family and friends?
Well, we were stuck together for about 10 years until she moved out, but we worked off each other, basically, and it becomes more easy. It's nice to have a family of friends or, that does art, because you do struggle with it once in a while. But most of the time, it's a free, it just flows freely.
What sets you apart from other Santeros and Santeras?
I really don't go there. I'm just myself, and I just do what I want. I enjoy other people's artwork, and I just try to inspire them also, because they're becoming an artist, and what they could do a little differently, or what they want to know more about the pigments and the gesso. So the images itself, it comes within yourself, how it should be done.
With your religious background, do you find that this is important for you and your artwork?
Oh, well, it has a part to do with it, but I always consider myself also an artist too. I have to go with that, because my faith is my faith. I will always be a Catholic, and that's where it is. Being an artist is a lot harder, I think. For religion, you have the rules, and with art, you don't have no rules. You could go beyond whatever you want to do. It's okay.
So if you were to talk to someone who is wanting to become a Santero or a Santera, what would you tell them?
Just be yourself and create whatever you want. There's so many different ways of expressing Santos. There's not one that's the same. It's a lot of icons, like Russian icons, the Spanish colonial art. I mean, down to the wood carvings. I'm a wood carver too. I train myself doing that. Just do what you like to do. It's not. Don't be pushed. Just enjoy what you want to do.
Do you have a specific piece that you're most proud of?
Well, no. What I'm proud of is that I could do Altarscreens. They're real big. They have multiple images and a lot of carvings. I'm more known for my art Altarscreens. I enjoy those, and I've been able to get the pieces that I have done into museums on permanent collection. So I hope I never go away from that. I know I'm probably going to do that because of my, you get older in your hands, and you get a little arthritic. But I won't stop until I'm not able to do it anymore.